Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today we're going to look at impact sounds. Specifically, we're going to look at sort of bassy, big impact sounds. So let's look at some of these. So this is my patch that I've made, and I have a few demo sounds and some interesting options with filters. So right off the bat, I'm going to play a relatively high one, and we're going to go down the line. So here's the higher version. As you can see, it's going to be quite epic. Here we go. Here's a lower one. That's the one I was sort of picturing. Here's another one. And this one just sounds nuts. If we play something down that low. Something that's kind of neat about this patch is you can play it and the reverb comes on at the end. So it's kind of an interesting deal here. So what is going on? Well, let me show you a few options we have of filters first. So here's let's play some higher notes. So I'm picturing sort of that kind of brassy big, like impact sounds you hear in movie trailers. So there's a low pass, there's a band pass. So band pass is really interesting. So that's kind of a curious thing. Band stop. And play that one lower. And a high pass. So just really weird sounding sounds. So let's talk about how I made it. So to start off this patch, I opened it up and I was like, I needed low notes. So I turned on my low notes, turned it down an octave, I didn't turn on the chorus till later. I said I wanted an impact. So I know I wanted a reverb sound and I wanted the delay to be 0. So if I push it, it immediately has all the reverb come right on up. It says reverb, come join me. I'm doing a lot of compression. So the compression is a big deal, what I'm doing with that. The EQ curve has this sort of a profile. You could, of course, without the EQ, sounds like this. With EQ. So just choosing some particular parts of the spectrum that I want to hear. I've got a classic low pass going, but again, you saw that's it. That's for I didn't use it during the demo. I have this log distortion and it's being asymmetrically distorted. So if you look at the waveform up here, let me make this. I could pull out a wave candy, I suppose, but long. I want it long. I want it big too. There's a way to make this bigger. Anyways, it's still because I'm using chorus and unison, it still comes up relatively on point in the middle. In the unison, I've got pitch on, it's barely being moved. The phase has been left where it's at. The panty's been brought down because I didn't want a gigantic stereo image. I could turn it up. Get a stereo. The pitch that being brought up's kind of crazy sounding. So that might be something you're looking for. I don't know. And on the phase, on the harmonics, I have this unusual shape for it just because I wanted to do that. And I did the harmonic randomness trick again. And so I just sort of made a random shape here. And I believe that's about it. So let's go ahead and make one, because it's always easier when someone making one. So here's our sound. So I want it low. Oh, well, you know what? I also turned on the chorusing, but we'll talk about that as we make the patch. So here it is. I use flat hat this time. Kind of an interesting deal. And we will turn the unison up just a smidge. because we're looking for that sort of and then like this summer this you know that commercial type style. So we're gonna turn the decay up. We're gonna turn the pre-delay down to 0. I think it's already on 0. I don't know. Okay. So we have our delay. I'm going to leave my delay right there. I'm going to turn the warming up. I want some higher end on this. I'm going to turn the sub on. Get sort of our gigantic cinematic type feel going here. I originally had an envelope of some kind, but I turned it off because I didn't like it. You could try messing around with the pitch. Be kind of interesting deal. Okay, so focusing. Here we go. We're going to turn some resonance on. I like me some resonance, and we're going to turn the EQ on. I'm going to turn the low pass up just a little bit so our higher end gets some, maybe not that much resonance. Turn the width up a lot too. So I'm going to scoop out some of the mids, bring up the bass like so, and I'm going to even create a couple notches here. And this is just creating sort of like a really bizarre comb filter. So let's try messing around with a high pass. These could create some really fun resonant basses, but let's go ahead and let's tone back our pitch variation substantially. Let's do asymmetrical. Asymmetry. Include our high stuff in the distortion. I'm going to protect my fundamental. And that sounds pretty much like what we had. Now, what would be kind of cool is if, so let's really quick do a similar thing that we did here. Do. We're going to have sort of that down. It'd be interesting to have an automation clip for a filter. Have it turn on. So we could have our bass impact sound. Get bigger as we go. This summer in the news. So let's mess with this some more. Let's layer it with a saw tone. Let's distort that saw tone. Oh, it's already being distorted heavily. I forgot you can't do that. So let's filter out the low. On our other tone, let's create it so it's not so rumbly. Not so rumbly tone. It's kind of an interesting deal. We could automate that. Da 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 da. It's kind of sudden. Here we could have some more. And on this one, okay, so we got sort of this interesting thing going. Let's come over here, turn our this unison on. Let's turn on the chorusing. It smooths out some of that bumpiness. Create automation clip for the filter. Holy cow, man. Whoever was in that movie just died. We could really create some. So that's what I'm thinking of when I think of impact sounds. July. This one would arrive. We would have arrived at this point. We have arrived. Yeah, I don't know. Probably put in some more layers too. Get some brass type sounds in there. Yeah, be kind of cool. I did a movie trailer similar to this once, not like a movie trailer, just for fun, and it was quite interesting what came out. If you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.